Now I'm going to show you guys how to set up a Prime 95B camera on the Olympus IX83 frame. So when you open the software, when you install the software, you should select the driver for the camera you have. If you're not quite sure what you do, please refer to the previous video for the installation of the Cellsens. Once you got it to that step, remember to check in the device list. You actually select the camera and then assign it to the right port. It could be left, or in some special case could be on the right and the front. In my case, it's mounted on the left camera port. Once you confirm that, the software will communicating with the camera, so all the buttons should be brightened up on the camera control panel here. If you don't see it, you can pull it out from the tool window and just click on the camera control. Then you have a camera control window here. Get to this step, you should already set up your observation method for your different channel for the fluorescence. So you can click on one, so make sure all the filter cubes in place, ready for imaging, and select the lenses you want to use, place your sample, and you can go live now. And when you open it, you can sort of like find your sample, use eyepieces first, so get the idea with the focus. I adjusted the autofocus so I can show you guys. At here it's quite black, you can adjust it, bring it sort of like in focus, and then you can use the exposure time here with the automatic exposure. You can see the image brighten up a bit. You can adjust focus further here. Under the autofocus, you have a couple of options. Region is for the full image. Basically, the software will use the full image to find the right amount of exposure time for you. If you choose spot 30%, it gives you a square. It means the software only uses the information from the square to calculate the right amount of exposure and apply to the full image. And you can also choose like 1% spot. You can see the square currently here is predominantly quite black. So if you make this speed exposure to the right amount of time, all the other will be overexposed. If you drag it to particular region, you can adjust it. So most of the time, you just leave it at the full image. Exposure compensation, we leave that at 0. We'll explain the gain a little bit later. And here you can lock the automatic exposure time by clicking this button. It's pretty much just locked in a particular value. It doesn't really change anymore. Usually what I do is I use the auto exposure to find the exposure, sort of like the ballpark of the time for good exposure, and then you click to the menu and you can adjust it manually or drag in this bar. Down here you have the resolution, which is you will be offered for a couple of options based on your camera. For this camera, the maximum is 1200 by 1200, and you can bin it to 600 to 600. This is give you a choice. Either you want to do it in live and the movie mode, or you want to do it in the snapshot or process. It means when you do experiment, what kind of a quality of image you wanted to capture. They have a crop or subarray function here. If you click on that one, they give you a little square here. You can adjust the size, and if you apply it to live, basically it will only show that little region when you do live. If you untick it, it'll show here. When you take image, it will crop it, but doesn't really affect the field of view when you do live. For HDR, you rarely use it for fluorescent image. If you're doing color imaging, it's the same concept as a HDR on your iPhone. For Prime, they have a couple of special features. This is come with a different camera. If you have a different camera, you may not see this one. If the other camera have a special feature, that's where you're gonna see it. You should always tick the speckle. Make it ticked. For the Prime Enhance, it's a denoise technology offered by the camera. I can show you guys how it works. So if we just for the comparison purpose, we can apply a small region here. We can apply to live. We can zoom in so you can see the picture here. That's just without taking on the prime enhance. You can see the images look like this. If you tick it, you can see it's a bit smooth. So the prime enhance can increase the noise to the signal to noise ratio up to 3 or 5 folds to increase the quality of your images, especially when you do very faint fluorescent image. It can be a very useful feature. Just bear in mind when you use the prime enhance, the image you're gonna capture instead of like 1200 by 1200, will automatically crop it into 1024 by 1024.